In this video, we're going to take a closer look at how to use Gemini and how to get some measurements. First thing we're going to do is load our pre-op image from our USB drive. I want to point out that there's a folder for the Sony printer, and within that folder, the Sony printer creates a new folder with its serial number. So we select our unaffected hip. In this case, we see it right there. And now we're going to load our affected hip. And again, we just double tap to navigate through the folders, and we select our hip. If you don't see thumbnails or would prefer not to see them, you do have a drop-down menu, and you can choose whatever view you want. Best practice is to leave it with the large thumbnails. A note about the USB: when you load the post-op image, Gemini looks at all the images on the USB and auto-deletes all images from yesterday. So just keep that in mind. It will always delete yesterday's images. You will never have more than just today's images on your USB. Because this is a left and right hip image, we're going to flip our pre-op image. And we do that with just using our little flip icon up here. Notice we can also rotate 90 degrees, and we can do the same thing with the post-op image if we wanted to. But typically, I just flip the pre-op image. Now I want to place a couple of markers, reference points, so that I can see how well these two legs line up. And in order to select a marker, I just enable the marker by clicking on that white square with a black circle in it. And now, using the mouse pad that's on Gemini, the silver mouse pad just underneath the monitor, I can move the cursor and tap, and wherever I tap, a marker will be placed. That marker will always stay in that position relative to the image. Now I'm going to place markers for the post-op image. I click my white square with the black X in it. Notice how the slider changes to whichever image I'm putting markers on. That enables me to focus on just that one image. Now, again, using the mouse pad, wherever I tap, I can place a marker. And I can put as many markers as I want wherever I want them in the image. This is just typically what I do. And now I can adjust my transparency. Just like you did with film, this is just like when you just overlaid it with a film. And typically what I do is I look at the pelvic inlet. And I use my nav pad, and if I double click and hold, the image will move quickly. If I just slowly tap one at a time, the image moves incrementally in position. When my two images are overlaid, I can use my markers to see how accurate I am, or I can just use the transparency slider. And again, much like you did with film, where you just looked at the two images to get a feel for your accuracy in the replacement joint. I can leave my transparency in the middle. And if I want to make some measurements, first thing I have to do is do a calibration. So I have my icon here of my little calipers. I click it to enable it, and you see it gets large. And now I come over to the image using the mouse pad, and I tap where I want to start my measurement, and I move the cursor and tap where I want to end it. And it's going to ask me for the diameter of the acetabular cup. And that's, just from the packaging. I'm going to say 52 millimeters. Let's say I got carried away and entered the wrong number. I can just hit clear and type in my diameter. And when I click enter, you'll see that I get 52 millimeters displayed on the screen. Now, if I want to make any measurements, I just click my measurement ruler, and I can click any 2 points on the screen. So I click where I'm measuring from, where I'm measuring to, and it shows me that distance. And let's say that this is my acetabular offset. I can store that over here on the side as my acetabular offset, 81 millimeters. And now if I want to make another measurement, I click my measurement ruler and I come back and I click my starting point and I click my end point. And again, it shows me, in this case, 38 millimeters. And let's say that's my femoral offset. I click my femoral offset tab, and this just makes it easy to see these two measurements. And also, if I want to measure the acetabular cup apparent angle, what we do is we look for the width of the cup. In this case, it's very difficult to impossible to see because the C-arm is positioned such that it's at a right angle to the cup. Normally, what you're going to do is position the image intensifier to be square over the patient, and that will give you a better view of the acetabular cup. But you would just measure the width of the acetabular cup and select the acetabular cup icon, and it gives you the angle. If you want to save this image, and that includes these measurements, all you have to do is click your little save icon, and it will save it to the USB, and it saves it with a composite file name, as you can see here. Now it's saved to the USB, and you can take it off the USB to transfer it to wherever you would like to transfer it to, in case the doctor wants to take it back. If you want to reset your markers and measurements and start over, that's the four-way arrow. And so I can reset, everything gets reset. Now, once again, I click on my pre-op marker, and I can place my markers if I so choose. We have had some customers that say that they don't really need markers. Others say that they really like them. And so you can just place, like I said, as many markers as you want. You adjust your transparency, and then adjust your overlay. And again, I typically use the pelvic inlet for my coarse adjustment. And then for fine, I'll use the teardrop. Now, if I'm not happy with the trial and I do another trial, make some adjustments, get a new post-op image, all I have to do is click on my post-op image and double click into my printer folders. I'm going to just grab the same image again. And I can load another post-op image. When I load the post-op image, you'll notice all my measurements and my post-op markers went away because they're no longer valid. I can always place new ones. And then I adjust my transparency and verify my new trial. And that's about all there is to it. So it really is quite simple to use. It's very much similar to film. That's how it got its name. It's the digital twin of the film process. Thank you.